In the beginning of the drama, we see our male lead, Jinwook. He is very rich along with being handsome and good-looking, and this was the reason why all the girls of Korea are crazy about him. Here he comes to the club to meet one of his friends. On the other hand, we see our female lead of the drama, whose name is Yumi. She is a very simple girl and is a dietitian by profession. She has also come to the club with her friends to enjoy. Her friends go to dance. While dreaming seeing them dancing, Yumi says, "Let me also dance." She opens her hair and dances in such a way that everyone starts watching her, but all this is her imagination because in reality she dances in such a way that everyone runs away from her. After dancing for a long time, when she goes to the washroom, she sees Jinwook romancing with a girl. At first seeing both of them romancing, she gets very surprised. She is enjoying a lot, but then she has to go to the washroom, so she quickly pushes Jinwook and runs away from there, on which Jinwook gets very angry at her. After that, we see the scene of the next morning where Jinwook's father is scolding him a lot because his last night's photos have gone viral all over Korea. His grandfather gets upset with all this and says, "You should pack your bags today itself and come to my hotel for training." But at first Jinwook refuses a lot, but then he has to agree. On the other hand, we see Yumi. She is taking her cooking classes, but she is not able to cook well at all, due to which she has a lot of scolding from her teacher. After finishing her cooking classes, when she reaches home, she gets an invitation letter there. That invitation letter is not of anyone else, but of her mom. Seeing this, she gets irritated a lot. Then the scene changes, and we see Jinwook with his assistant where he feels very sad. Just then his assistant points towards the bus and says, "It is time for you to go." But he says, "Is it necessary for me to go in the bus? I can go in my own car too." But the assistant refuses and says, "I have received these orders from your father." After that, somehow he makes him sit in the bus. But in gestures, he is threatening his assistant to kill him. After that, we see that Yumi is also entering the same bus. As soon as she entered, she starts irritating Jinwook by her stuff. Then, people start harassing her. Jinwook also gets irritated and tells Yumi, "The seat next to me is empty, so you sit here." On which Yumi thanks him. Then she starts sitting on her seat, but by mistake she falls on her hero. On which she gets scared a lot and starts saying sorry to Jinwook. But he tells her it is fine, but now how much time will you sit here? Then she quickly wakes up and goes to her seat and sits. After that, finally the bus reaches its station and everyone gets down from the bus, but Jinwook and Yumi are still sleeping in the bus. When Jinwook wakes up, he gets down from the bus without waking Yumi up. Here Jinwook is waiting for his assistant. After that, Yumi also comes out from the bus with her stuff. She goes away from there by hitting Jinwook through her stuff. Jinwook gets very angry with her and says to himself, "Finally, the stupid girl goes away from him." In the next scene, we see Jinwook with his assistant, where his assistant asks him to wear the waiter's uniform, but Jinwook refuses to wear it and throws it away. But in the next scene, we see Jinwook in the waiter's uniform. Maybe he wears it out of fear of his dad. Here he is even wearing the uniform, but looking at his antics, no one can say that he is a waiter because he does nothing except roaming around and giving orders to other waiters. After seeing his antics, the manager comes to him and says to him very angrily, "If you keep doing this, then I will punish you and I will complain to your father." But our hero gets scared quickly after hearing his father's name. On the other hand, we see Yumi, who reaches this hotel to attend her mother's wedding. Seeing Yumi in a black dress, her mother tells her, "You have come here for my wedding, not in my funeral." And then she asks her maid to change her dress. After that, we see Yumi in a very beautiful dress in which she is looking very pretty. Then the wedding ceremony starts, but our Yumi's main focus is on food. She asks the waiter to bring food again, on which the waiter also gets very irritated and says, "How much will she eat?" On the other side, we see Jinwook, who is listening to the assistant talking to the waiter. He gives Jinwook's car keys to a waiter and tells him to keep it safe and not to give it to anyone. Seeing this, Jinwook gets very happy. Just then the manager comes there, and she starts scolding Jinwook a lot and says, "You are not doing any work." But Jinwook quickly takes the wedding cake from the waiter's hand and says, "Look, I am working." After that, we see Yumi. The two ladies sitting next to her are talking about her mom, and they say, "I have heard that she is an erotic actress, and she has also worked in many adult movies." Listening to the talk about her mom, she remembers her high school life where all the students used to bully her for this reason. Remembering all this, she gets very upset and gets up from there and leaves. On the other hand, we see Jinwook, who is carrying the wedding cake. Just then, Yumi comes running in front of him, and she is just about to fall. Just then, our hero quickly catches her. Then both of them keep looking at each other for a long time, but then a flying cake hits Yumi's face, due to which her dress becomes dirty. She quickly gets up and runs away from there. After that, the manager scolds Jinwook a lot for the wedding cake getting spoiled, and also asks him to apologize to Yumi. But at first, Jinwook refuses, but when the manager threatens him by his father's name, then he has to agree. After that, when Jinwook is going to apologize to Yumi, just then, he sees the same waiter who has his car keys. He asks the waiter to give him his car keys, but the waiter refuses. But he threatens him to fire him, so he quickly gives the keys to Jinwook. After taking his car keys, Jinwook says to himself that this is the last work, and then he reaches Yumi's room to say sorry to her. Then he enters the room and says, "I have come to say sorry to you." But as soon as he turns and sees Yumi's face, he remembers that she is the same girl who had troubled him a lot in the bus. He comes close to her and says, "It seems that you did not recognize me." Seeing him very close, she gets hiccups. Jinwook says, "I had come here to say sorry to you, but I feel that you should say sorry to me." On this matter, both of them keep fighting for a long time. Then he tells her, "I do not have that much free time to keep arguing with you," and he leaves from there. After he leaves from there, Yumi gets very angry. After coming out of the room, Jinwook remembers that the car keys had left in the room, and to get it back, he goes back to Yumi's room. There we see Yumi, who is going to the washroom to take a bath after drinking beer, when she slips and falls down very badly. At the same time, Jinwook, who is standing outside her room, is continuously ringing the bell, but he sees that she is not opening the door. So he goes inside the room through the master key, and as he takes his keys and goes to the washroom, he sees that Yumi is lying there. Seeing this, Jinwook doesn't understand anything, and he quickly picks up Yumi and starts taking her to the hospital, but she is completely fine. However, due to the embarrassment, she doesn't open her eyes. But sometimes Jinwook comes to know that she is completely fine. Seeing this, he is very angry and says, "Today, for the first time, because of you, I have got such embarrassment." Because of all this, Yumi gets sad and starts crying. Seeing Yumi crying, Jinwook controls himself and asks her, "Are you fine?" Hearing this, Yumi is very surprised. Then Jinwook makes her wear his coat and says, "You do not need to depress yourself because of others." He tells her to enjoy her life and goes from there. In the next scene, we see that Jinwook is going with a flower bouquet, and on the other side, we see Yumi. She is enjoying her life on the advice given by Jinwook. Jinwook reaches outside a small restaurant and leaves the bouquet in front of the restaurant and goes away from there. Actually, it is his mother's restaurant, who is no longer with Jinwook. After that, his mother comes there, and after seeing the flower bouquet, she understands that Jinwook had come here. After this, we see Yumi, who is waiting for the bus. Then Jinwook comes there and offers Yumi a lift in his car. Seeing this, Yumi refuses and says, "Did you steal this car from someone, or it's of your customer?" Hearing this, Jinwook starts telling his reality to her, but then he becomes silent and again offers her a lift. But Yumi says, "I do not have any interest in living with you." After that, Jinwook says, "It is your wish, but I do not think that any bus will come here." On hearing this, Yumi quickly sits in his car. After this, when both of them are on the way, the fuel of the car gets over and Jinwook asks for some money from her. On the other hand, we see that Jinwook's father is scolding the assistant very much and asks her to find Jinwook. Then we see both of them having fun at the beach. Here, Yumi finds a coin, seeing which she says that today is a very good day for me, but Jinwook calls her stupid. After that, they have a lot of fun there, and then it becomes night. Yumi says to the Jinwook that today no one has ever asked me whether I am fine or not, but you are the first person who has asked me this. Then Jinwook says that you are not the first girl who is crying because of me, because there are already many girls who have cried because of me. But you're the first girl who I find cute while crying. On hearing this, she gets hiccups, and they both come very close to each other. After that, they spend the whole night together kissing each other. Next morning, when Yumi finds herself with Jinwook, she gets angry at herself and then picks up all her clothes and runs away from there. After that, 3 years pass, and we see the life of both Jinwook and Yumi, where Yumi's life is going the same as usual, but our hero Jinwook has changed a lot after spending a night with Yumi, and now he is the CEO of a very big company, and he is very serious about his work and time. After that, we see Jinwook with his father. His father says that you should get married now, and I want to become a grandfather soon. But Jinwook refuses and says that there is a lot of pressure of work right now, so I cannot take responsibilities like marriage. And saying this, he goes to his meeting where he gives a lot of work to all the workers, and all the workers get very upset with him. After this, we see Yumi, who is telling her friends that from tomorrow, I am starting a new job in a company on which her friends are very happy for her. After that, when Yumi is crossing the road, she sees the same car of Jinwook, seeing which she starts remembering the night she had spent with Jinwook. Next, we see Yumi with her best friend Jong. He tells Yumi that you have slept here again today. Let's go to your room and sleep. She slaps him and says that I am fine here. After that, we see the scene of the next morning where Yumi reaches her new job, and here we come to know that the company she is in is none other than Jinwook's. But she does not know about it and goes there. After that, Jinwook also enters the company, but both of them are not able to see each other. After that, when Jinwook is in the lift, he sees Yumi in the lift in front of him. Seeing her there, he is completely shocked and asks his assistant, "Did you just see someone in a black dress?" But the assistant says, "It seems that you are not well." The scene shifts and we see Yumi, who is introducing herself to all her colleagues. But all the colleagues start seeing her with straight eyes about her. But then one of the employees says, "Come, let me take you on a tour of the whole office." On the other hand, we see Jinwook, who is continuously thinking about Yumi. When he was in a meeting, he loses consciousness and falls down. After that, we see him in the hospital, where all the employees tell him to take care of himself and leave from there. Then his assistant tells him, "I will resign from my post tomorrow itself because of me you have become in this condition." But when he starts to leave, Jinwook asks him, "What do you want?" Then the assistant says, "I just want you to eat 3 times a day," and Jinwook also agrees to this. After that, the assistant goes to Yumi and asks her to cook 3 times food for Jinwook. First, she is very surprised, but then she has to agree. Then the scene shifts, and we see Jinwook where he gets a call from his high school friend Hairi. Actually, Hairi is after him to marry her, and seeing his phone call, Jinwook tells his assistant, "If I meet her today, then I will have to go to the hospital again." And after saying this, both of them quickly run away from there. After this, we see Yumi, who is busy cooking food for Jinwook. But when the assistant takes the food prepared by her to Jinwook, he takes a lot of mistakes in it and says, "This kind of food is not even for dogs," and goes from there after telling her to throw away the food. After that, Jinwook troubles Yumi again and again for food. After this, we see the scene of the next morning where the assistant again comes to Jinwook with the food prepared by Yumi. But as soon as the assistant leaves from there, Jinwook asks one of his employees to throw out the food, and she goes to throw it away. But Yumi sees all this, and she feels very sad. In the next scene, we again see Jinwook with her father, where his father is forcing him for marriage, but Jinwook points towards his assistant and says, "I already have a wife." After this, we see Yumi, who is asking an employee of Jinwook and says, "You should give this food to your boss." Then Jinwook comes there and is very surprised to see Yumi. Then he comes to his office and looks at Yumi's resume and says, "You have insulted me a lot." And here we are shown a scene of 3 years ago where after Yumi's leave, many ladies are laughing at him. After this, we see the next scene where the assistant gives Jinwook a diet plan for Yumi and says, "If you have any other question apart from this, you can directly ask me." After that, Jinwook goes to trouble her every time and rejects her every cooked food. After this, when she is looking at the profile pic of her boss, she remembers Jinwook's 3-year-old memory and says to herself, "This can never happen." Now Yumi is very angry at her boss who troubles her a lot, and she takes out her anger on food. On the other hand, we see that the assistant who brings the food made by Yumi to Jinwook, but Jinwook again refuses to eat it. Then he says that if you don't like this, then we can hire a new chef. But Jinwook refuses and says, "There is no need for this, and don't worry, I am taking my supplements." There we see Yumi, where Jinwook messages her and says, "I am allergic to the dish you just sent me." But she is very surprised and says, Since when? He says, from today and now on. Seeing this, she gets very angry at him. After this, Yumi is also talking to her friends and talks a lot of bad things about Jinwook. But by mistake, all those messages go to Jinwook instead of her friend. When Yumi gets to know about it, she quickly runs towards the office of Jinwook, and as soon as she enters his office, the assistant comes in front of her and refuses to let her in. She requests him and says, "Please let me in, as it is very important for me to meet him." Then Jinwook tells his assistant to let her in.